I was listening to the story it was a story of a family in Washington, and the little boy called the Bigfoot the Cowboy Man. And he had, apparently it had made an effort to steal this kid. And it hit me. My children were in that playpen behind me with nothing but a mosquito net over them. It could have crept up behind me and taken both of my children, and I wouldn't have known.
Father just got like a Mustang or something from Wyoming, okay? He had it out in the corral because he couldn't put it in the barn in the stalls with the other horses. It would kick and made all the other horses nervous. Had a Seminole Indian working the horse trying to break it every day. So they had it out in the corral. This skunk ape snuck up behind this horse and grabbed it on its hind quarters. This particular horse kicks out, jumps over the corral, runs into the pasture, to get away. At this point, the rancher's out there just blasted away with the 30-30. Skunk ape runs into the swamp.
I went up there one day after that, or 2 days after that. I went up there and sat in the silence up there, and I'm telling you, man, it was free. It was crazy. There was a crazy vibe up there still. I did what I could to kind of get things under control, but I told her, I said, you need to get off this property. I feel like no matter how strong you are, it's almost like standing in the ocean. You can't stand still without moving your feet. You're going to get knocked over eventually, no matter how strong, whatever. You can't withstand a barrage of weird spiritual energy.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Paranormal Odyssey Live. I'm your host, Wayne, joined as always by my good friend, partner in crime, sister from another mister, Miss Tiffany. What's up, ma'am?
Not too much. I told him in chat you were going to get me for that because I recorded a Spooky Sunday today and it automatically queues up my intro video.
Yeah, thank you for that. But there's a delay, so I don't think anyone... Did anybody see it?
They didn't say if they did.
Okay.
So, that's fine. But I'm doing good. Had a busy day. Glad to be here.
Good deal. One of our favorite people, her offspring, is backstage. Yeah. Her daughter, Miss Chris Blaylock's daughter, is backstage. We've been looking forward to this one. This is going to be a very, very fun show. We have a few things that we do want to talk about, so we're going to go ahead and get to the paying the bills portion of the show. Before we do, though, real quick, I want to bring up the poll question. Are nurses/caregivers more open to hauntings? Right now, 83% of you say yes. What say you, ma'am?
I think so. And I think so because they are in the direct vicinity of everything. Tragedy, trauma, just it leaves a stain everywhere. And the more you're in that, the more you're going to see.
I think so too. Just, because of their occupation, where they go to work every day, they're around death and sadness and illness and stuff. So
Yep.
I could see it, but 83% agree with us. 17% say no. So yeah, interesting. All right, as I was saying, there was a couple of things that we do want to talk about tonight, so we're going to go ahead and jump in and get through these bill paying session real quick. Guys, if you're new to the show tonight, please hit that subscribe button. Before you leave, help Miss Tiffany and I continue to grow the show.
And if you would like to be on with Wayne and I, you can reach out to both of us, Wayne at paranormalworldproductions.com or me, Tiffany at paranormalworldproductions.com, and we will be glad to get you on the schedule.
Want to invite everyone to head over to paranormalworldproductions.com, check out the website, become a member over there, join the blog, sign up for the newsletter, check out all the blogs, pick up some merch, all of that good stuff. But you got to head to paranormalworldproductions.com to do so.
And if you have any questions for our lovely guest this evening, please put them in all capital letters. We highlight them and save them for the end of the show. Then we do a rapid fire Q&A. As long as they're in all capital letters, we will be able to grab them quicker.
Chris Blaylock, beat us to it.
Hold on. I'm sorry. It's okay.
Chris Blaylock, thank you so much, ma'am. You are awesome. Thank you so much for the super sticker. One thing that we were going to talk about, and we're still going to, though. The last show that we did, Chris Blaylock and one other person. I'm sorry, the person is escaping me. Maybe you remember?
I remember. It was Goonie Goo Goo.
Goonie Goo Goo. Those two hit us with $20 super stickers. $40. I'm not great at math. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I know 20 plus 20 is 40. $40. Apparently, YouTube does their own math because the $40 that they sent us, when we went live that show, it's beginning of the month, we were only at the $2 mark, $2 and some change. So when you guys hit us with $40 that night, that should have put us at $42, right? You know what it put us at? 27.
Mm-hmm.
$27 is what we made off of those two $20 super stickers. And
I did the math, and they're not even supposed to take that high of a percentage from us.
No,
it was like 62.5%.
I don't know what's going on because that just seems like a lot. I mean, I know we wouldn't be making anything if it wasn't for YouTube. YouTube has to make their money. You're right, Chris. That's not fair. So, Tiffany and I were thinking, and we have thrown this out, toyed with this idea before, just never pulled the trigger. So we want to ask you guys what you think about it. And that's why I was kind of hate that Chris. Thank you, Chris, so much. But
yeah,
wish you would have waited.
Get a portion of that, yes.
Yeah, I wish you would have waited 5 minutes before you pulled the trigger. But what we are thinking about doing is, let me pull it up. Guys, if you want to help us out, do Cash App or do Venmo. Still going to pay a fee. It's nowhere near the, what is it, 30-something, 40-something percent?
Yeah.
40-something percent that YouTube takes out. Do Venmo, Cash App. There's the Venmo. There's the Cash App and the Venmo that you can send it to. That way it comes to us right away. And after every show, if you guys would do that, yeah. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Chris. After every show, I'll just send Tiffany her 50% because that's what we do. She and I, we split everything we make off of this channel is 50-50. So if you guys want to do that, Cash App us instead of doing the super stickers. We still want you to be members.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. We want to grow we want to grow the community. We want as many members as we can get. So, we'll still make that revenue off of YouTube. And there might be some people out there that don't have Cash App or Venmo or just aren't comfortable with it. That's fine. We don't want you to stop. Mm-hmm. It's just, I think everyone can agree with this that that's not fair. It's not fair for them to take that much money. Tiffany and I put a lot of work into this show. Hours a week that we put into this, research and finding guests and making the studios. And, it goes on and on. Not to mention, it costs money to do this. StreamYard ain't free. Mm-hmm. So again, we will never beg. Troy, PayPal. I'm trying to stay away from PayPal because PayPal they're happy with these too.
They are pretty happy.
Yeah, I've been trying to stay completely away from PayPal. So I mean, at this point, if you can't do Cash App or Venmo, just do the YouTube, the
Do
super.
this, yeah, the super stickers.
Yeah, just stay away from PayPal. I have a PayPal, but the fees are just crazy over there. So anyway, guys, I don't want to make a big deal about this, but if you are one of our regulars, and we have several of you that donate that help us reach our goal every month, and
Every time.
Like Tiffany was saying before we came on, it's not just unfair to us; it's unfair to y'all.
Yeah.
Because y'all help us reach our goal, and it's just taking more money out of y'all's pocket to help us get our goal.
Yeah, and we don't want that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
And I was saying this last month we didn't do as good. We still cleared $200. We were over $200 last month, but the month before was our best month. We did 330 bucks. What would we have done without those fees? 500? I
Yeah.
bet every bit of 500
Every bit of it.
we would have made if we would have been doing Cash App and Venmo. So, just throwing it out there. Chris, I don't want to downplay your super sticker. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, we're not downplaying that 20.
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Just moving forward, guys, if you can, the Cash App and the Venmo are down there at the bottom. It will go straight to me. I will still announce it. We'll still give you credit for sending the payments. It'll help out. And I think it'll be better for all of us in the long run.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just going to leave that up. And one other thing before we get to our guest. Oh, God, we're 12 minutes in. I'm so sorry. I'm leaving Thursday for the Spirit of the Forest Bigfoot Festival in Greenville, Ohio. If you are in the area, please stop by. I would love to see you. I will be doing a talk there. I will also be teaching a couple casting classes. So, yeah. If you're in the area, please come by, say hello. I would love to see you. All right, Tiffany, tell us a little bit about our guest.
Her name is, I don't want to say it wrong. You were saying Brianna. I've been saying Brianna. I guess it's a potato.
Well, she just did this when you said Brianna, so I guess I was wrong.
Brianna. So you were wrong. I was right. Keep that in mind, buddy. But Chris was telling me when we were in Tennessee and we were sitting at the picnic table in the cabin, you know, with she and Erica, her other daughter, who happens to be in the chat room right now, that they had some pretty spooky things happen. You know, she's got some tales that she experienced from the hospital she worked in, and then some personal spookies. So I'm really excited to hear them. And she's gorgeous. So just saying.
All of that. We got all of that out of the way. Let's go ahead and bring on Brianna. Right, Brianna?
Hi. Yeah, it's Brianna.
See?
How you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing good tonight. How is everybody else?
We're doing, as Troy would say, finer than, oh my gosh, I'm going to mess it up if I say it. Finer than frog's hair split 10 ways.
Finer than frog hair. You ain't even got to split it. Frog hair is pretty fine.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, ma'am, so much for taking the time to come and hang out. We were telling you backstage before we came on, we were awful fond of your mother. It's Chris Blaylock. She's an all right lady.
Yeah, she's pretty great.
Good deal. Good deal. Mamas are important. Mamas are special.
And she's not just saying that because she's on live YouTube, Chris.
Well, she actually is covering my director at my office this week, so I'm going to see her tomorrow morning too.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. All right, let's just go back to the beginning. What got you started? What piqued your interest in the weird? Was it something that happened, or what? Yeah, just take
Kind
the
of,
stage, man.
kind of both. So when I was a kid, Disney Channel was always the thing back then. And I loved Halloween time, just the whole aspect of Halloween. It's my favorite holiday, favorite season. And it was a movie called like Twitches or something. And even I think before like I first seen that movie, I just kind of felt like when I was feeling a certain way, like the weather reacted to the way I felt. And as a kid, I thought maybe I was just being a kid. And when I, started aging and grew into an adult, I kind of realized like, I'm a very spiritual person. But there was also a movie which kind of like piqued me into conspiracy theories. I was really young, and I think my mom would yell at my dad for watching these movies in front of me. It was called Signs, that alien movie.
Yes, that's a good movie.
And I remember when I first seen that as a kid, it just totally changed my mindset on, well, there has to be other life out there. We can't just be the only thing. And, what would really happen if a situation like that did happen? So that's kind of where my mind just started to think outside the box and explore the unknown type things.
Now, Signs, that was Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix, right?
Yes.
That's such a good movie. That was a UFO movie,
hmm
and I think that opened a lot of people's eyes. It certainly made me think. And so where do you go from there?
Um, so I grew up in a neighborhood called Candlelight. It's by a middle school called Lassiter over here in Louisville. And that's where things started for me. And as a kid, I feel like adults would always tell me, and I've even as an adult now, I've heard people tell kids like it's just your imagination, and I never really believed that. There was one time in the way our house was set up, we had this area called the office because my mom and dad had their own medical waste business. So that's where they did all the stuff. And it was maybe 2007, 2008, because this wizard game came out. So I was always like, did what I needed to do, my chores. Can I go play my game? And my mom was gone because she was in school at the time. My sister Megan lived in the house, but she was a teenager. I don't know where she was at, what she was doing. So my dad was home, and he was sitting in the living room, and like the way the office and the computer was, if I like looked to my left through the hallway of the kitchen, I could see him sitting on the couch. And I remember playing my game, and down the hallway where all the bedrooms and the bathroom were, I heard the bathroom door creak. So I just kind of like peeked over my shoulder and realized that the door was cracked when it was wide open. So I was like, did he go to the bathroom and I didn't see him? And then like, so I peeked over and he was still in the same position, eating his bag of chips, watching whatever he was watching on TV. So I was like, okay, well, maybe it's nothing. And then as I turned to look back at the door again, just to make sure like my eyes weren't playing a trick, I watched the door fully open. And that's when I was like spooked. I was scared. So I went and said something to my dad, and he was like, oh, it's probably just one of the cats. And then I, was looking down at the left seat, and both the cats were right there on the other couch. So I was just looking at him like, can't be the cats. They're right there. So he when I was younger, he was an atheist. So he never believed in ghosts, anything. His mindset has changed now. But so me as a kid trying to like be like, no, that was a ghost versus him on those don't even exist. that was the first thing from as far back as I can remember that kind of like happened to me. I had a lot of weird things kind of happen in that house. For whatever reason, when I was a kid, I never liked to be in the dark. Never by myself, never in the dark. And I think, all little girls, played with baby dolls. And I had this one specific doll. I loved it to death. It was my favorite. And I don't know if like the brand or the name of the baby doll was called Violet, or if I just named it Violet because it had like a little purple hat with like purple on the shirt. And it was one of those dolls that had like an opening in the back where you could put batteries in. But I never liked that.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was really little, loved Barney. Someone got me a Barney thing for my birthday and it talked or walked, and I was like, no, done off that. So I never put batteries in this baby doll. Never. One night, trying to sleep in the dark, and it started making a noise, like it was crying. So I like straight shot up out of bed, and I like looked at it, and it did it again. So I flipped on the light in my bedroom, and like just for safety measures, I opened the back, pulled open the thing, and there were no batteries in it. And after that, I was done playing with dolls.
Dolls are a whole different. It's like Furbies, Everybody had to have the Furbies. No, the hell you don't, because them things come to life in the middle of the night. You throw them in your closet, and they're still in there.
Yeah, what the hell is it with dolls? We hear so many people talking about creepy dolls. I mean, I don't get it.
Well, I heard something, and don't hold me to this because I hadn't fact checked it, but I heard something the other day that was saying that dolls were specifically made to hold souls.
Oh, what the hell?
I mean, like I said, I hadn't fact checked it, but I mean, it would make sense because, like you said, look at all the doll stuff we hear.
I see where that could stem from, because if you think back to like Orleans and where voodoo kind of stems from, they used dolls. So yeah, I see where that could come from.
So Brianna, this specific doll of yours did not have batteries in it, and what did it do? Did it say something? Or
it didn't say anything, but it just kind of made like a baby crying, not like a wail, but like just a like
yeah.
And I couldn't do it after that. Could not do it. And then I had to go back to like sleeping with some form of a light on. So I would like turn my TV on and keep the volume all the way down because I didn't necessarily need a background noise, but I needed a light in my room because I was so terrified of the dark.
Yeah.
Telling myself that I need a light now. I'm 44.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the dad of a toddler. Scarlett is 3, and there's toys. Oh my God, I can't move without stepping on a toy in my house, and they go off from time to time. And I just got to keep telling myself, that it's supposed to. That's just a coincidence. Don't worry about it. But there's times that I wonder. I mean, toys are supposed to be fun. Why the hell are they so damn creepy?
I think, especially like when I've had like 3 different stages in my life. When I was a kid, I experienced more. Teenager, I was in that rebellious era and I didn't experience more. And then I like healed and I started to see and hear things again. And when I worked at the psych hospital, I was always careful about saying that out loud because I was scared somebody was going to try and like get me committed. But there was another time, that same house, and it would happen quite often there. It was, I don't know if my sister was currently living there at the time or if she was just over for a little bit. But we were in the living room and it was late at night. My mom was already in bed and we heard like a deep male voice. And I just kind of like looked at her and she looked at me, and I was like, you know, like we nodded in agreement, like we heard that. And we kind of, you know, just said it was our grandfather. I unfortunately never got to meet my grandfather or grandmother on my maternal side. They did both pass away. My grandfather before I was born, my grandmother a little bit after I was born. And then same with on my dad's side, his father had passed away before I was born. So I always just kind of like thought anytime I heard something like that, it was one of them like reaching out to me. But there was a specific time there, and I think it was one of the last times I ever experienced something there before we had moved to Shepherdsville. Um, I'm sleeping, you know, TV was on, no noise, just for the light. And I just woke up, like shot up in the middle of the night because like all the hair on my body was rose. And I felt like I was in danger. Something was wrong. I felt like I was being watched almost. So for whatever reason, I went and I like looked out the window. And as I was looking out the window, our power cut out in the house. But nobody, we lived in a cul-de-sac. Nobody else's power went out. It was just ours. It wasn't storming. You know, there wasn't like a solar flare or anything. Like it was just our house singled out. And then it put me in a panic mode. So I went and I was banging on my mom's door because I was hysterical. I was crying. I was screaming. I was like, please, like, can I come in? Can I come in? And when I looked down the hallway, all I could see, because it was pitch dark, but I seen a figure, like a darker than the blackness of the hallway, standing there. And it was tall, like over 6 feet tall. And I felt sick. Like I felt like I was going to throw up. I felt like I was going to pee my pants. I was detrimentally terrified. And I'm sitting there like counting down the seconds for her to open the door because I felt like I was about to be taken. Like I didn't really understand what I was looking at. And I couldn't see eyes. I couldn't see like distinct facial features. But it started walking towards me.
Oh shit!
No.
And I was just
Goodbye.
banging. And even now, like my body's kind of like shaking, being back in that like fight or flight mode. And finally she opened the door. And when she opened the door and I got in her room, I just felt like I could breathe. And when I woke up the next morning, I went like out in the neighborhood because it was summertime, I'm pretty sure. Or like we were on fall break, something like that. There wasn't no school going on. And I went and asked all my neighborhood friends, like, hey, like, did y'all have like the power go out? And they were like, no, like, why? Like, what happened? And I was just like too scared to tell anybody what I saw because I didn't want to be blown off or, oh, but everybody would call me Bree in the neighborhood. And a lot of people call me Bree still, but they'd be like, oh, Bree's just crazy, da 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 da. And I never felt fear like that before until I was a teenager and I had some other experiences happen.
So, would you say it was like a shadow person that you saw? Because we have heard, I have heard, I know we've heard it on this show many times. People talk about the way you just described it, blacker than black, blacker than night. Like it was nighttime, but this, whatever this was, this entity was blacker than that. So would it be like a shadow person, you think?
I definitely think it was a shadow person, but I could feel the malice coming from it. And I don't really know what to make it out on what it was. I'm very grateful that I've never experienced that again in that way. Because I had a different situation kind of similar when I was a teenager. But it felt so negative. Just such negative energy.
Let me ask you this, Brianna, and I may be reaching, but did you notice if if it was wearing a hat?
I don't think so.
Okay, because I've heard stories about the Hat Man.
I haven't heard stories on that one.
Okay.
But I do like, there was a story, and I think it was like on Reddit, and it wasn't really a story, it was just like a thread because I was doing research of my own. I would have this repeated like nightmare, and it was of this man who was just chasing me through all these weird, abstract like places. And eventually, like I got on Reddit 'cause I use Reddit as my Google, and I was like, what does this type of dream mean? And I didn't figure out what the dream meant. I just found a thread of where people were having the similar dream.
Wow.
And, scrolling and scrolling, somebody sketched a picture of the face of the man that was chasing them in the dream. And to a T, that was the same face I seen in my dream.
Oh shit.
And
That's
I
wild.
don't know what to make that out to be. Some people on the comments in that thread were like, oh, well, this proves we're in a matrix and, things like that. And I've never really understood why there were a whole bunch of people who could remember that face, who experienced the same dream. And it just never really sat right with me either. And I think when we're kids, that our mind isn't so exposed to things from the world that like veil is lifted,
Hmm.
and you can see and hear things, and then you get told, well, it's just your imagination, it's nothing, you're just scaring yourself, so you dim out and you recover your own veil until I guess you choose not to.
And then you see something horrifyingly dark.
Mhm.
The research I've done too is when you have a haunting and you have the paranormal investigators that go there, I've heard some of them say that spirits will manifest themselves in what is easy for them or what they think will scare you the most, especially if they want you out. So if they honed in on you to have this dream and they're showing it as to why everybody in the world had it at the same time and can remember it, I don't know. But if that's what they were using to scare you the most with, that's going to be the image that they take on in the physical form.
Mhm.
And it is a lot of darkness and a lot of malice, and to make you that afraid, it was definitely for sure something.
Yeah.
It was not any bit of good.
And your mom brings up a great point right here. I also believe that family genes plays a role in being able to see spirits. Bree, do you think? I mean, can you speak to like past family members? I know you talked about your grandparents were gone really before you were here, but have you heard anything about anything like that, like past relatives?
So there was one time, it's really funny that you asked that, or that she brought it up and this question came about. So we went to her father's grave, and it had been a long time since she had been, so she couldn't remember where the exact mark was. And I remember we were just wandering around trying to find it, and I just heard like, I don't know if it was a whisper in my ear or if it was just in my head, but I heard, walk straight 5 paces and take a right. And the word that stuck out to me was the paces. It's like steps wasn't used, it was paces.
Hmm.
So I did that. And then when I looked down, I'd found his grave. There's sometimes where I used to smoke cigarettes when I was younger, and I don't anymore.
We all did.
Right. I mean, I vape now. I mean, it's not no better, but I can't really tell if I just am like placeboing myself and I smell cigarettes when I haven't been around somebody that smoked them, or because I was always told my grandma on her side was an avid smoker. So,
That's fascinating. That's so fascinating, Bree. I don't think that you are like relapsing back to smelling cigarettes because I smoked for 25 years. Cigarettes for 25 years before I smoked. I don't smell cigarette smoke.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I haven't since the day I stopped. But I've talked to people, and we had a gentleman on that his job was cleansing houses. And one of the things he reported was people hiring him to come in and cleanse his house because they would walk into a certain room of the home and it smelled like cigarette smoke or very, very strong women's perfume in certain rooms. So, what is it? Is that like a residual haunting?
Well, if you remember, we dealt with that very same thing when everything first started here. We have our den, and it reeked of cigarette smoke. Like, I was thinking maybe the previous owner smoked and it was just stuck to the walls, but it wouldn't smell like cigarette all the time. And then it would smell like that. What is it? The Liz Taylor perfume. I can't remember
White
the name.
freaking diamonds.
White diamonds. Yes. Yes.
I started to say that, but I couldn't remember what it was called.
Yep. And you know, the funny thing now is what I smell here as of late is marijuana.
You got a stoner ghost.
I mean, it'll just waft in there, you know.
Yeah,
very
that's
strange. So
that's Carrie telling you, Mom, there's a ghost in the house again.
oh, you're so funny.
Carrie's her 15-year-old daughter.
Yes, she'll be 15 Monday. Yeah. No.
Oh wow.
Mom, there's that ghost. That ghost needs to stop smoking pot in my room.
But no, I don't, and I haven't smoked since she was 2, so I don't think it's a. I think it's something that just causes the. I don't know what causes different smells with different spirits. At all.
There's probably like 2 or 3 more experiences I want to share because I see the clock. I know we're kind of getting close.
Don't worry about that clock, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, quit looking at the clock. It's just us.
So, I mentioned that I live like near Jefferson Memorial Forest, and I feel like everybody that lives in Fairdale has had some type of experience there. Mom, I know you're watching. I'm so sorry for what I'm about to say. I skipped school.
I love it. I love it.
And it was also when I was 16 and I had a car. I didn't have a full license. I had my permit. Again, I'm sorry, Mom. But me and my friends, went to Jefferson Memorial Forest, and it was like around fall, but it was getting close to winter time. And we were just going to do like the small little trail. And I had 3 friends in front of me. I was in the back. And we're going up the hill of the trail. And everything in the forest just went quiet. So then I'm like, my senses keyed in. Like, what is going on? Because usually you'll hear the birds chirping. There were still like some insects around at that time period. Nothing was hibernated yet.
Was there a Bigfoot in the area?
I don't think it was a Bigfoot. I think I heard, I want to say hopefully it was a skinwalker, because we heard a scream, like someone screaming, help me, help me, help me.
Oh, damn.
And the 2 friends, they're twins. They looked back at me. And then my other friend, I've been friends with her. We still keep in touch. She's one of the only few that I do have that I keep in touch with. Her name is Bailey. And she turned back and looked at me. And she was like, what do we do? And I was like, we go back to my car. So I made all of them run in front of me. So that way I was the last one. I don't know. I was going to just sacrifice myself, I guess.
You were the martyr.
Yeah, for the team.
You are a better friend than I, Brie.
We got back to my car, and the next morning I got on the Fairdale Facebook page. I got on our news channels, and I never seen anything about like a woman being missing, or that there was a woman that was murdered. So I never really knew what to play it out to be. And I think that we heard a skinwalker that day.
And I would 100% agree with you.
It was the way that everything just went quiet before we heard it. It was just like everything knew to be quiet.
Yeah,
And I
but
just,
Bray, you hear that all the time with Bigfoot. I'm a Bigfoot guy. You hear that all the time with Bigfoot reports. And your mom here, that's where I had my Bigfoot experience. Now, what did you say you heard it say? Scream for help, maybe?
Mhm. I heard help me.
Help me.
Well, see, and that's their MO. That's what they do. They will either mimic somebody,
What's they?
the skinwalkers.
Okay.
They'll either mimic somebody who is in danger, or they will make, like, let's just say, for instance, that a dog is hurt. Something to lure you to the sound,
Hmm.
and then you're gone.
So I do have indigenous Indian in me. My mom actually found a picture of a few greats of a grandmother, because I've always kind of questioned, like, why don't I look like any of you in my family? But I look like her twin almost. If I didn't cut 10 inches off my hair back in January, we would look like I would look like a time traveler almost. Um, so I do believe in a lot of,
Yeah, I
yeah.
noticed when I put a picture, one of your mom's comments up earlier, and I'm going to do it here just for example. You and your mom look alike.
I do hear it. As a
You look
kid,
like your
I think
mom.
I just needed to mature into like my adult face. I still get carded everywhere I go.
How old are you, Bree?
I'll be 23 in January.
Okay, so you're still a youngin.
Yeah.
Okay, but no, you look like your mom.
There's another place. It's over in like Bullitt County, and then I'm gonna get into some of the stories I have there from our townhouse we lived at. It's called the River Bottoms, and a lot of things have happened over in Mount Washington. There was a woman who was murdered, and this actually kind of ties into my experience. Again, Mom, I'm sorry. Me and my friends took my car in the middle of the night to go smoke some pot, and we were
Oh
going on a
God,
raft. And they were like, "Let's go to the river bottoms," because it was
you
known to
trying?
be
Are
like.
you trying to give your mom a heart attack tonight? What is up?
I'll hear about it in the morning, so it's okay. I'm surprised she's not texting my phone right now.
She's watching the show. She's busy.
But everybody, from Shepherdsville, Mount Washington, Hillview knew of this place and that it was supposedly haunted because this girl was murdered there at a barn. And it's a very narrow road, like only one car can squeeze through. So we go past the barn where it happened, and that's where I just like got the eerie feeling, but I couldn't tell if it was like my sixth sense kicking in or if it was the pot. So we keep going, and we finally make it to the bridge. And the bridge is spray painted from people where they've been all over. It was pretty cool to be at as a teenager. So we were gonna get out and take pictures, everybody at the spray painted bridge. And I looked forward, like where I had my headlights off, and then I could see a silhouette of like a big, hefty looking guy. And I was just like, oh shit. So then I turn around and I see headlights coming, and I'm like, oh, we gotta go. Like, I gotta move my car. We can't just be posted up here. Also, I was scared because what if that was a cop? Which it wouldn't have been. We were on a back road out in the sticks. And my friends looked forward and they seen the guy too. So now we're like, well, what if that's the murderer? Which I have no idea if they ever caught or found the murderer. But we all get in the car, and my only option was to go forward because there was not enough room for me to finagle my way to turn around. There was no area to turn around. There's no driveways. This is just a long, eerie road. Finally, we go forward, and the guy just disappears. So
Oh
we were kind of like,
shit.
did we all just like imagine that? And I look at my rearview mirror to like see where the headlights are at, and the headlights were gone. So I was just like, there was no house for a car to pull into. And I feel like if, they would have been able to finagle their way to turn around, I would have ended up seeing their taillights. So then I hear one of my friends in the back seat going, "Bree, Bree, 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 Bree." So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to hit a deer. And I look up again, and like right out of the distance of where my headlights could reach, there was the freaking man. You couldn't see no facial features. Again, it was like that darker than night. So I'm in panic mode now. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to finagle my way and turn around. So I did that, and I turned around and we went back to Shepherdsville. And we never really could make out what it was. We all just kind of thought that it was the spirit of the murderer that killed that lady in the barn. I haven't talked to any of those people since we moved away from there, but we all kind of, the next morning, we were all hanging out again. It was like, that was real. Because, like, I wasn't the only one who seen it, and I was not the only one that was scared. They were too. And also, they were all guys, so it really meant a lot for them to, feel it and see it too, because I feel like a lot of teenagers back then from where I grew, or where I was living at over there, just blew everything off, didn't really believe in that stuff, but they were scared. I was fairly certain I was going to have to clean pee out of the back seat. Thank you. In our townhouse there was like an upstairs, and that's where my bedroom was. And at the time, my sister Megan also lived there, and she lived in the bedroom across the hall, and then we shared a bathroom up there. And in my bedroom, I had this long, like, walk-in closet. Like, it was like maybe like 10 feet long. It was pretty nice. As a 16-year-old girl, I was like, this is the dream. Until suddenly it wasn't. So I had a childhood cat, and she would follow me to bed. So we were going up the stairs, and the closet door was open, which I thought was weird because I could have swore before I left that day I'd shut it, because I didn't like the cat. I didn't want the cat to get like stuck in there to, knock things over in there. I had sentimental things. And lights were off in the room, and like she walked in through the doorway, and she like turned and looked down into the hall of the, I'm sorry if you hear my cats in the background playing with their plastic tent right now. But she looked down into the hallway, and when like cats get scared and like they arch their back and all of their fur starts rising, she did that. So I was like, is something in the closet? And then we heard a growl. And I know I wasn't the only one that heard it, because my cat took off flying down the stairs. She was terrified. And I grabbed my blankets and I went right down there with her. I did not sleep in that room that night. I had a lot of weird things happen with that closet.
It could have been a portal in that closet. I've seen some where that is a lot where these people, children, have a lot of their instances happen is the closet.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go in there and, they have mediums or whatever, and they're like, yeah, this is bad. This is definitely some kind of portal.
Mm-hmm. And I do believe that, because another time with that same closet, I had a friend in high school who was staying the night, and she was sound asleep. And I would always keep like a mug of water, and I didn't really have like a nightstand or anything, so I would just set it in my window sill. My window was not open or anything, and I remember the cup was empty. I drank all the water. And when I woke up, the closet door was open. And again, I swore I had shut the thing. And next thing I know, I watched this cup come out of my windowsill and fling over to the middle of the doorway of the closet, straight up. Like, it wasn't tipped over. It was sitting straight up. So I woke my friend up, and I was like, we are sleeping downstairs. Do not question me. Get up. We're going.
We're getting the hell out of here.
Yeah. I was not playing about that. There was this, in my sister's room across the hall, she had the closet, and in her closet was like the water heater and stuff. But beyond that was another door, and it was locked. Like you could not open it. And we never knew what was behind that door. And I still question what is behind that door to this day, because there's just some things there. And the same apartment was, or townhouse, was when I had my first, like, I don't know if it was a night terror or if it was what you would call an out of body experience. But that was something that genuinely terrified me. I remember falling asleep and I thought I had woken up. But when I woke up, I was looking down at my body like I was pinned against the ceiling. But I could not move. And it's like the only light portraying to me was looking down at my body. Like I could see my bed and I could see my body, but everything around that was darkness. And I was like, did I just die? Like, am I dead right now? So then I'm screaming like, Mom, and nothing is coming out. Like I have no voice, nothing is coming out. And I feel like something is approaching me. So again, I'm still screaming, Mom, Mom. Nothing is happening. And I can feel this presence just coming towards me. And finally, I remember I just shot straight up in the middle of saying the word Mom. And I just looked around and I was like, back. Like my dog was right there down on the floor, sleeping in her dog bed. And I never could really make out what that was. I've talked to some friends about it, and some have said, "Oh, well, I think that's what a night terror is." And I never really thought, like, I thought a night terror was, like you kind of see something like staring at you, but I didn't see something staring at me. I was staring at me, so I never really knew what to make that out as. And I've never had an experience like that since being in that townhouse.
It's almost like sleep paralysis, but I've not ever heard of the, splitting of your body, like looking down at you. But you couldn't move or nothing would come out. That is so reminiscent of sleep paralysis. I've just never heard of the separation there. That's crazy.
It's creepy as hell. Yeah, I mean, God, I don't know what to make of that. But, sleep paralysis, night terrors, that's kind of what you lean toward. But with all the other crap that you experienced, I don't know. You take it all in as one big thing, and I don't know. You have definitely experienced some shit in your life.
Yeah.
And I mean, we didn't even get into any hospital stuff.
Yeah, I have very faint stuff from working there. One time I did pick up, and I was doing a double, and I think my mom mentioned this when she was on, something about the child unit, and that's where I was. It's working child. So when they go to bed, you turn off all the lights in the hallway. They turn off the lights in their room. They have a little night light that they can keep on, and like nurses station lights, everything goes off. And I'm sitting there and I'm doing my cues. So you're walking into each room, you flash a light, check for 3 respirations. I finish my cues, put my flashlight back behind the nurses station, and then I kind of just sit there and I'm waiting for, the next round. And I seen something run across the hall. So I was like, hey, like, you gotta go back to your room. You can't be running about right now. And I didn't hear a response, but I heard a giggle. So I was like, which one of you little kids are playing with me right now? So I walk down the hall, grab the flashlight, and I look in the 2 last rooms. And in both rooms there was 2 patients. So there was 2 beds per room. So total of 4 kids. And I checked in the left, same position from when I just did my round. I check in the right, same position. So I was just like, are they really playing with me right now? So then I was like, okay, I'm going to stand at this end of the hallway and catch them up. And then as I'm doing that, and the nurse wasn't at the nurse's station. She was taking a 15-minute smoke break, so she was outside. And I could not tell you where the other tech was, which that unfortunately kind of happened a lot there. So it's just me right now. And I seen it again, but at the opposite end of the hallway. So I was just like, what is going on? So now I'm walking down back to the other end where I was just at. I'm kind of stomping a little bit because I'm thinking one of these kids is really playing with me. And I check in their rooms. Not a movement. And I kind of just, I left that night and I was like, I'm going to light an incense when I get home. And I'm going to, myself, because I can't bring home no little friends. And the kids kind of brings me over to my nephew. So a few years ago, he got really, really sick and he was in the hospital and we were all really scared. And he got better and he was able to come home. But a lot of things changed. He suddenly had this fascination with, guess what? The closet.
Oh, shit.
So he would just want to go into the closet in the dark, didn't want no light with him in there. And he would just talk. So eventually, me and my sister, asked him, like, what are you doing? Who are you talking to? And he said he had this friend. So we were kind of on alert because me and her do believe in the paranormal and the spiritual. She's also a very spiritual person. And we were just kind of very on alert. And he doesn't do it anymore. So I feel like when he got sick that something just kind of came back with him from the hospital. I don't know if maybe he really did make a friend that helped him pull through. I don't know if I really don't know. But I do remember that year we were at her house. It was a night in December. And I brought like one of those like decorate cookie things. So we were going to like put icing on cookies and stuff. And she didn't have TV on. And we're giving him our undivided attention. So both of our phones are down. We're not scrolling or anything. There's no extra noise. And we're decorating cookies. And out of nowhere, I heard a woman's voice like come directly to my left. It was clear as day. I couldn't really make out what was said, but I heard it. And I turned my neck and looked. My sister heard it because she looked too. And so did my nephew.
Oh.
And I kind of just like looked at her and she was like, you heard that? And I was like, I heard that. And he heard that. And I don't know. And now that I really think about that, I think that was the last instance where he talked with his friend. So the more I kind of thought about it, I thought maybe that was the friend saying goodbye. Because he never really brought up said friend again. He never really would go to the closet anymore. And me and her never heard anything at her apartment there at the time again. So the more I, thought on it, I was like, I think that whatever was following and attached to him said its goodbye and went wherever it needed to go.
That's crazy.
Yeah, anybody that watches this show knows how terrified I am of something latching on with me and me bringing it home. I can't be doing that shit. I'm sorry. All right, we are right at the hour mark. We've got a few questions. If you don't mind, we'll go ahead and jump in to those. First one isn't really a question; it's a comment from Chris Jarvis. Teddy Ruxpin would talk by itself. I remember Teddy Ruxpin, bruh. That thing, I've heard many people talk about that thing. That thing's creepy as hell.
I had one. I had a Teddy Ruxpin.
I had one.
Yep, it is the one thing that I begged my parents for. And so I did. I got Teddy Ruxpin. And everybody's like, yeah, put a Metallica tape in there and play it backwards. But I I was a kid. I don't even remember what he played, or I don't remember him ever acting out. But again, I was small. He could have that. I just don't remember.
Yeah. My good buddy, my brother from another mother, Mr. Robert Matler. Did you ever experience temp change or smell?
That instance in the woods where I said I heard, or where I thought I experienced like hearing a skinwalker, even though it was around like fall, winterish time, and it was a little chilly, it was almost like it dropped 10 degrees. But there was no wind blowing, like the trees weren't moving or anything.
If you were going to mention a smell, I was going to say, dude, you experienced a Bigfoot. You know? But you say the temperature dropped a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Blue Crossroads. That guy, did you see any of his facial features? The heavy guy that you were talking about? And did you notice any smells, sounds like my last encounter I spent with Tiffany and Wayne?
I don't think. I get the only facial feature I guess you could say was like it almost looked like there was like a beard or like something coming from like his face almost.
Okay.
But that was about it. I couldn't like see any eyes, nose, nothing like that.
Okay. So it was a big guy with the beard. It was me.
Shame on you, Wayne.
All right. Yeah, this has been, oh man, this has been very, very cool, very eye opening. One thing I take away from it, Bree, you are a very well spoken and articulate young lady. Congratulations to Chris. She did a great job. you thought I was going to compliment you, but I'm complimenting you.
Like, dang.
Yeah, you raised you girls right. Yeah, she did. I think she did. But yeah, but no, that is a compliment to you. You are very articulate, very well spoken. I believe everything that you said, and I think some of us are just more gifted in that area. I don't know if gifted is the right word, or more receptive, maybe more open to things. And I think that you are certainly one of those. And I'm very appreciative that you came on and shared your stuff with us tonight. Thank you so much.
Well, I appreciate you all having me and allowing me to share my experiences with people.
Well, the door is always open.
Absolutely.
And it's not the closet door either.
I would not walk into no closet door, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, again, because we barely even talked about the hospital stuff. And I feel like you have more to share if you want to come back ever. Like Tiffany said, the door is open, ma'am. We would love to have you. Just stay in touch.
Oh, well, trust me, I will.
Yeah, you know where to find us.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so very much for coming on. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. You all as well. Y'all have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. And real quick. Yeah, she is great. She did. And let me fix this. So you're not
I'm on the wrong side.
Special.
I'm way too big and on the opposite side. There you go. That's more comfortable.
We did get a Venmo of $25. But I think Corley Blaylock.
Awesome.
I don't know if that's Chris Blaylock, but one of the Blaylock sent us $25 via Venmo. So thank you so very much for that.
I think it'll just work out better for everybody. They won't have the crap taxed out of them. We won't have the crap taxed out of us. And,
Yeah. If everybody is okay with that, we are certainly okay with that.
Yes. And for everybody in Florida, because I've been like glued to the Weather Channel, you guys. Okay. So please be safe. I know some of you cannot leave Florida. I know there's a lot of people who wanted to leave Florida but can't because Florida's out of gas. The interstates are absolutely jammed up. All the essential workers cannot leave. Bristol cannot leave. I am like praying for you because I know what they're saying that this storm is, but you know, God is bigger than any storm. So I am just sending all of my prayers to Florida, and please keep in touch with us and let us know that you're okay. Please.
That was so very well said, Tiffany. Thank you so much for saying that. I'm glad that you brought it up because I would have forgotten. But yeah, guys, there are so many more important things than our little show and everything that we do, and your lives is definitely one of those. So, guys, please take care. If you are being evacuated, just leave. Your life is so much more important than your property. You can rebuild. You know, just I don't know. It's scary, especially after everything that happened with this last one, and then this one's supposed to be worse.
Yeah, worse.
Guys, take care of yourselves. Please
Yeah.
take care of yourselves.
And they're still in the process of cleaning up. From what I've seen, now I talk to Russ a lot because, okay, he's not the news and I believe what he says. So, but the images that I've seen is, you know, when you empty out your house in Florida, everything goes to the street. So then you have, you know, when it was a Cat 5, it was 180 miles an hour. Okay, so then it dropped down to a 4, and I just looked at the updates before we came on here, and it said that it's back up to a Cat 5. I don't know. Rick still needs to clarify because I don't know who to believe anymore. It's bad. Okay, it's really freaking bad because they worked endlessly and tirelessly trying to get all the stuff into a safer place than on the side of the street. But what is left is going to be blowing in the wind, and it's going to be projectiles at this point.
Yeah.
It's just, it's bad. So,
Yeah, guys, please take care of yourselves.
yeah.
All right. We are going to get out of here. Again, let me pop it up. I will be in Greenville, Ohio in just a very few days. If you're in the area, please come and say hello. I would love to meet you guys and hang out, swap stories, all of that good stuff. The weather is supposed to be really good up there. So, yeah, if you're in the area, please come by and say hello. All right, guys, until we talk to y'all again, y'all take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Bye.